In this video, we're going to demonstrate how our slab assemblies work in our BidPro Concrete for PlanSwift plugin. So we've got just a foundation plan pulled in here. So the first thing we're going to do is go to our estimating tab and select our BidPro Concrete location folders. We're just going to click and drag the folder into our estimating tab, and we're going to do a slab on grade, so we'll select a location of foundation slabs. Okay, now we'll go back to our Home tab. We'll select our BidPro Concrete Assemblies and our slab folder. We've got two main slab assemblies. We've got a slab on grade, and then we've got an elevated slab assemblies. So we'll select our slab on grade and take a look at that here. Okay, so we basically just work our way through the tabs and build our assembly, basically set it up for the particular slab that we're going to take off. We can name the slab whatever we want to name it, so that when we're looking at our reports, we understand what that slab was for. I'm just going to name this main slab. And we can set our material waste percentage. We can set a multiplier here if for some reason you've got one plan page that represents more than one area. You could set your multiply to 2, for example, and it will multiply all of your takeoff dimensions or measurements by 2. And then we can also assign a slab bid amount per square foot for this particular slab. So we got 50 cents a square foot just in there as a random number. And then we work our way through the rest of our material layers. So we make our concrete selections in our concrete tab, our PSI slab thickness if we need forms, perimeter forms. We select whatever we want to display as the form material. And if what we already have in the list is not what you need, you can just simply go to the list tab and add anything you need. And then also, with any of our assemblies, any of the items you don't need, you just select NA, and it's going to filter that material out of the reports and will not quantify anything for that. Your form height, you can input how many inches high your perimeter forms need to be. And with all of your form material, it's just going to give you your total square footage of form material that you need for whatever assembly that you're using. So we can work our way through here. Slab base, we can do 4 inches of gravel. Let's say we don't need sand, we'll select NA. Wire mesh, you can, if you need that, can select the product, and whether it's sheets or rolls, you can select that size. And then your mesh coverage, whether it's per sheet or per roll. And then your mesh chairs or any other kind of supports that you need to figure in there. And then your mesh chair coverage. And again, any items that you don't see in the drop down that you need, all you have to do is go to your list and add it. Rebar, this is to add material for a rebar grid if you need that in the slab. So you've got your selections for your X-axis rebar, as well as your Y-axis. So you can select the rebar size, the on-center spacing, how many layers. So if you got 2 grids in the slab, one in the upper, one in the lower, you could, however many layers you want to figure of that X and Y-axis rebar material, you can select there. And then also your rebar chairs for that grid and your coverage for that. You can select the vapor barrier and vapor barrier coverage, tape if you need it as well. And then insulation board. On the slab on grade assembly, you've got an option for an under slab insulation board as well as a perimeter insulation board. And again, any of the items that you don't need, you just select NA. Your perimeter insulation layer height, you can put in if you need 8 inches, 12, 24 inches, however however high you need that perimeter insulation, and it'll figure your square footage for you. And then the last thing you want to do is make sure you've got your selection, your appropriate selection folder selected that you want this assembly to go into. So we'll click OK, and we're just going to do a quick, we're just going to take off just an area here to show you how the items display in the reports. Okay, so we just took off an area with this main slab assembly that we built. So we'll go to our reports tab. So we're going to look at our concrete reports. We'll look at our materials by location report, and this is all of the materials that were quantified by our parts and assemblies in that slab assembly right here. And you can see where it's organizing everything under the location of foundation slabs, which is the location we selected with our location folder. So any assembly that we use and we place in that foundation slabs folder, it's going to organize the material under this location. So you can see we've got our rebar that is calculated, our plastic, concrete, rebar chairs, and so on here. So if we click over to our consolidated materials list, this report is going to create a consolidated list for the entire project so that you've got one list that you can send out that doesn't have the same material item repeated over and over again that you have, that has to be priced more than one time. So that's a nice report to have. And then our bid detail report here, you can see it's just a breakdown of if you have selected a bid amount for your assembly for the main slab, that's what we named that slab assembly, the first takeoff here that we did. We've got 1,893 square feet. I think we had 50 cents a square foot. So that's telling us, our bid amount for that assembly is $947. And then when we set the job up, we selected a markup percentage of 15% that will automatically calculate. So as you set up each individual job, you'll be able to select a markup percentage that you want to apply to that particular job. Another thing that is another feature that we've added recently, when you set the job up, you've got the option to also select a company logo. If you've got a company logo on your computer somewhere, you can basically just go in and locate that logo through the file path that's provided there during the setup. And if you select a logo, it will be displayed here where it says your logo here on all three of the reports. Okay, now let's take a look at our elevated slabs. It's going to be pretty similar in the way that it's set up. Obviously, elevated slabs, there's going to be some materials that aren't needed that you're going to have with slab on grade. So we're just going to stick with all the defaults here, and we'll just show you how it looks in the reports to have more than one location. So we'll stick with the defaults. We can select our concrete, our wire mesh, our rebar, similar to the slab on grade. One thing that we need to do before we do that is go to our estimating tab, and let's pull over another location folder, and we're going to do an elevated slab. So we'll choose a location of first level slabs to place that in. So we'll go back to our concrete assemblies, we'll select our elevated slab. Okay, we'll just leave it named elevated slab. Again, we'll just go with the default selections. But we will select our first level slabs location folder to place the assembly in. So if we click OK, we can just take off an area here. So when we go back to our reports, our material by location, you can see how that report is going to build as you do your takeoff for your project. So you can see where this location was added for first level slabs because of the folder that we added, and here's the material that's been calculated for your elevated slab assembly that we just did our takeoff with. Again, with our consolidated materials, it's just going to continue to generate a consolidated list of materials for the project. And then the bid detail report, you can see where it's added for the location of first level slabs, a line item called elevated slabs, which whatever you name your assembly is what's going to be displayed here. We got 1,464 square feet, and again, we left it at 50 cents a square foot, so it's just giving us the breakdown of our bid amount for that particular takeoff item. And then we've got our subtotal with our markup percentage, and then our bid total.